welcome to Born Wild, the show that takes you to the heart of wild India. It takes you up close and personal to some of our most charismatic, magnificent and unique species. The animals we will feature on this show will be some of India's most vulnerable and endangered species. These are animals that have challenges facing them every day. Challenges like habitat loss, poaching and human-animal conflict. We bring you on-the-ground reports of what is happening with them, the people who are working to save them, and solutions that are helping. Come with us as we go to the monsoon forests of the Annamalai Hills to a place called Valparai. There we're going to look for the Lion Tailed Macaque, or the LTMs as they are known. They're on the red list of the International Union of Conservation Networks as endangered. It's a long winding road up into the Annamalai Hills. The Annamalai Hills run the border between Tamil Nadu and Kerala and are part of the southern part of the Western Ghats. The winding road takes several hairpin bends, and suddenly as we come around one, I see a sight that floors me, an endangered Nilgiri tar sitting calmly on the side of the road. We almost went by, as after all, who expects to see an endangered animal casually sit on the side of a mountain highway? The Nilgiri tar, or the Nilgiri ibex, is an animal endemic to the Nilgiri Hills and the southern portion of the Western Ghats. In Munnar, a national park called Erevikulam has been created for the protection of this species. Here it was a group of several females and 2 males. One of them a spectacular adult male with the light grey area on his back, marking him as the saddleback or the dominant male. Usually, their habitat is open grasslands in the mountain rainforests broken up with sholas. The tar used to number in large populations and were found all over these hills until hunting, poaching and habitat loss in the 19th century decimated their populations. Greater protections of the animals helped raise their populations from just a few hundred in the early 20th century. A worldwide Fund for Nature census has put the numbers as little over 3,000 animals. Standing on the road, watching one of our endangered species calmly graze on the side of the road with vehicles whizzing past was an introduction to the Annamalais that I did not expect. The reason that this lot were out here is because many tourists who drive by stop to throw food out at them, an appalling practice that is semi-habituating this magnificent wild animal and also making it vulnerable to the dangers of the road. Also, fragmented forests were responsible for the animals descending out into the roads as they wandered from one point to the other. It gave me a hint of what I would see with the lion-tailed macaque. A hidden mist suddenly descends, here 1 minute and gone the next. Prior to the 1850s, what you see behind me, this beautiful, wonderful stretch of contiguous forest, was what this entire area was like. In the 1850s, the British came in, they changed things around, they created plantations, they clear-felled those beautiful forests, they put in commercial trees like teak and eucalyptus. Now there's tea estates here, coffee estates, cardamom, spices, and so the entire forest has become fragmented and very few patches like this remain. So these kind of areas should have been the original forests for animals like the lion-tailed macaque, which are endangered, and one of the primary reasons they're endangered is because of this loss of habitat. In the lifting fog, the whistle of a Malabar thrush gently lands on the ear. It was late evening as we reached our destination, Valparai, and I knew I had to get up with the sun to find the troops. I knew from my research that there were at least 3 troops of Lion Tailed Macaques, or LTMs as they're known in the area where I was staying. It did not take long to see them come running lightly down from the canopy. They were quite unconcerned by our presence, and the cameras and one of the dominant males even climbed our car while another got inside to look for food. We had no food in the car, but we did have water. Our camera bag too became something for them to explore. Some aggression was shown when we tried to get the bag from the lead male.
This lion-tailed macaque is an old world monkey. They are meant to be arboreal 90% of their time up in the treetops. In the wild, you'll have to trek for hours to even catch a glimpse of them way up in a tree. In most of these places here in Valparai, the old rainforests have been cut down. The area has become very, very fragmented. So the troops that are trapped in areas with smaller rainforest patches and bigger patches of either coffee estates or cardamom or tea have a problem because they've changed their entire way of being, their entire behavior. They spend a lot of their time now on the ground. They spend a lot of their time raiding, and they've become used to people coming here and feeding them, and that also has changed their behavior.
The troops that have made this part of the Anamalai's home have done so in the midst of a growing mass of humans. Tourists here throw rubbish everywhere and sometimes feed the monkeys, while the locals have food in their homes and in the trash dumps. My research had told me that there were about 47 troops of LTMs distributed across isolated forest patches spread over Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka, all divided up by estates. The largest undisturbed patch of rainforest is found in the Anamalai Tiger Reserve. LTM numbers stand between 3,000 and 4,000 animals, and average troop numbers between 20 to 30 individuals.
They have a rudimentary social structure where they do not interact as much as many other species of macaques do. They spend time grooming one another, and they do have agonistic and affiliative interactions, many of which are expressed through facial gestures.
As the babies are very vulnerable to predators, they spend much of their time carried by their mothers. Even when they explore their world, a careful watch is kept over them, and at the slightest hint of danger, they are picked up by their mothers and held. I followed a group as they went on their foraging, and soon they got quite relaxed around me. Here there was a mix of vegetation, mainly a sort of recovered areas from a coffee estate with no real tall trees. The monkeys move mainly on the ground while feeding on coffee berries. Lion-tailed macaques are so named for the black tuft at the end of their tails like lion tails. A barking deer and a few sambar also joined the troops on their foraging. The troop let me stay and follow them for a while without getting alarmed, a behavior which would have been unheard of in troops deeper in the larger tracts of rainforests away from human habitation. Those troops would be as shy as these were confident. This troop also spent a lot of time on the ground as the trees were quite widely spread apart without canopy connectivity. To get an idea of what the more wild troops of the LTMs were like, I went to a slightly more original rainforest site near the Anamalai Tiger Reserve. This troop was really difficult to follow as they stayed high up in the canopy. Not only was it hard to squint up into the trees which were against the sky, the dark bodies of the animals were further silhouetted by the sky and hidden by the leaves. Occasional movement and a moment or two of stillness was when one could spot them. This troop was still more habituated than the really wild troops situated inside the Tiger Reserve and the troops in Kerala's Silent Valley. Their natural behavior is to live and hide up and feed in the high canopy of the rainforest. They do occasionally supplement their diets with invertebrates that they come down into the leaf litter to find. Being arboreal gives them the advantage of spotting danger quickly. Their natural predators are raptors, who will take the young ones and the occasional adult, snakes, leopards, and other small wild cats. On the ground, the monkeys are more vulnerable as they are better designed to be able to run through the trees for climbing and jumping. On the ground, dogs are a big danger near human settlements. Also, the roads crisscrossing through their territories pose a threat with the traffic. Often the monkeys have to cross the road to get from one forest patch to another. They also cross the road to get to human homes. A few bridges have been built up in the canopy to keep them crossing above the road. In other areas, there is a team of 2 men who spend their entire day directing the traffic around the monkeys. The macaques mostly eat fruit, leaves, pith, seeds, bark, and even certain invertebrates. Between the completely wild troops and the semi-wild ones, the dietary similarities still exist. However, with fragmented forests, it's harder for the semi-wild ones to forage for their natural food. They're also getting used to human food and have even taken to eating coffee berries.